Hey, it's Palm Sunday, and so I'm going to spend a few minutes here and want to talk about a couple of things. The I've I've cancer, like I said, and there's a lot of ways you can look at that. A lot of reactions that I could have, and I don't know. Right now, I guess I'm choosing to look at it um, as an opportunity. Um, while I'm having treatment, I mean, this is a place I've never been in my life, and a lot of people have gone before me, and a lot will come after, unfortunately. But I guess it sort of gives me a platform to talk a little bit. So, I'm happy to do that, to talk about, my experience there and how God fits in that, and you know, my relationship with Him. I'm gonna actually use a few notes today. Everything else has been pretty impromptu, which has probably been evident. But I had a couple things I didn't want to forget, so I don't look at the camera that much anyhow. So I guess that won't make a lot of difference. As it turns out, I was gonna talk about something else, and while I was making some notes, I wrote down the word heroes in the margin, and once again, because God is who He is, like seconds later, my friend Justin Thomas posts a message on Facebook, and he referred to me as a hero, which I'm clearly not, but he's a cool dude. So since those two things happened with the same word at the same time, I thought, well, maybe I should think about this a little differently today. So as things would continue to unfold, shortly after that, terrific young man, a friend of mine, Brant Guthrie, posted a video of him presenting his testimony to youth group at Ellisville Christian Church, and I watched that. And for those of you who don't know, Brant is a senior at Edgewood this year, and he last December lost his sister, a couple years older than him. And I watched him stand there and deliver this entire testimony and story about his sister and the times that he spent with his sister and the moments and events leading up to discovering what had happened to her. And I was completely blown away by the fact that he could deliver that entire thing and never break down. I probably couldn't get 2 sentences into it, and this young man walked through all of that. So I looked at my notes, and after that, and I thought, okay, it doesn't matter what this guy's age is. To me, he's a hero. He's walking through a lot right now, and I know he has a lot of people loving on him here in Ellisville and elsewhere. But if you get the chance and you happen to know him, keep on doing that, because I'm sure he could use it as well as the rest of his family. I know they're hurting. I just got a chance to see his dad a little bit ago. Good man, terrific family. So then to get back to my message from Justin, for those of you who don't know Justin, Justin is from India, and he is the single most patriotic American I have ever known in my life, except for maybe, I don't know, Chuck Norris or something. The guy is crazy happy to be here, and he's really an inspiration. He has, I don't know if you've heard of Operation Shoebox. He received one of those as a kid, and he works with me at Catalent, and a lot of friends that we have together, and I had a lot of fun with that at Christmas. Maybe I'll post a video about that, but it was pretty cool. And he's a hero to me. the way he walks through everything, and he is as proud as you can be of our flag and his country and our country and just everything. Um, but interestingly, he sent me that. Brant showed up in it, and I'm like, okay, I guess the topic for today is going to be heroes. And then I thought about the people that are in the armed services. They're already heroes, doing what they do. But for everything that's going on here, I mean, imagine, you're worried about your family down the street or in the next town or, in another state. These people have to worry about their families half a world away, and they can't do a single thing about it. Now, talk about feeling helpless. So I'd like you to lift those guys up tonight. When you're talking to God, they're doing so much for us already, and they have to deal with that as well. And they, like I said, they can talk to them on the phone or message them on the computer, face-to-face conversations, but they can't be there. They can't protect them. They can't really do a whole lot about them, and that's got to be a helpless feeling. So to me, those people are heroes 100 times over, and thanks to all of them. I have a couple other people that I want to mention too, but I haven't heard back to make sure that it's okay, so I'll save that for another day. And I started thinking, what does God have to say about heroes? And I looked up a few verses. One of them was Romans 15, 1 and 2, and it talks about helping people in need and shoring up the weaknesses of other people with the strengths that you were given, and supporting and building up people emotionally and as well as physically. And I found a couple of verses like that, and I think the really great thing about that is that it says to me that anybody can be a hero. You don't have to be born with superpowers or amazing strength or be able to fly or climb walls or shoot webs or whatever it is. You can wake up today, tomorrow, and be a hero in that way. And so, to me, that's a really great opportunity, sitting in front of myself and everyone else, being a hero. And then, I thought about characters in the Bible, and there are tons of people, characters who show up in the Bible who do heroic things or act in heroic ways. And so I just wanted to pick one, and of course, it's one of the most obvious, David and Goliath. But there's something that's interesting to me about it that I wanted to share with you. And for anybody who doesn't know the story of David and Goliath, a little background: the Philistine army and the Israelites, led by Saul, were, kind of in the stalemate, and they were getting ready to fight, and this fellow from the Philistine side, Goliath, who was, huge, monstrous, and he's decked out in all this, incredible armor, and he has a spear and a sword and a javelin and this booming voice, and for 40 straight days he walks out and he challenges the Israelites day after day after day. Look, you send me one man out here, and if you beat me, then my army and my people will become your servants, and if we beat you, then you're gonna be our servants. You're gonna be our subjects. I guess everybody wanted to avoid a lot of killing, so this was a way to solve that. But Goliath was this incredibly imposing figure, and nobody wanted to walk out there. And so after 40 days of it, And if I'm getting any of this wrong, please feel free to, correct me. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here and trying to remember as much as I can. But David has basically been a shepherd boy, and he goes, down to the battlefield, to the front lines, and his, I don't know the background on this one yet. I haven't read enough, and I don't remember, but he gets into kind of an argument with his older brother about it. His brother's like, what are you doing down here? And David ignores that, and he goes forward and he talks to Saul, and says, hey, I'll fight him. And Saul's like, what do you think you're doing? And David is undaunted, and he says, I've been tending sheep, and those sheep have been threatened by lions and bears, and I've taken care of them. I've taken down a lion, I've taken down a bear, I've protected those sheep because that was my job, and I'm going to treat this guy like a sheep, or like a sheep. I'm going to treat this guy like he's, after my sheep, and he's a lion or a bear, and I'm going to treat him the same way. I'll take care of it. And Saul said, well, okay, have at it. Now, I'm obviously paraphrasing because I don't think have at it's in the New International Version anywhere. But so the next thing is they start suiting David up with some armor, and they trying to give him weapons and put a helmet on him and all this. And David stops everybody and says, look, this is not my usual gear. I'm not going to feel comfortable in this. I can't do what I want to do wearing all this, and he basically has a tunic and a staff, and a bag that he keeps, a few things in. And he says, I'm not gonna meet him this way. It's not gonna work. And so he gets rid of all that, and he picks up his bag and his staff, and he walks down to the stream, and he picks up 5 smooth stones, is what it says, and he puts those in his bag, and he has a sling, and that's it. And he's not, an impressive physical specimen to begin with. He's just a regular guy. And so he walks out on the battlefield, and, Goliath takes one look at him, and he's like, what am I, a dog? Really? You're out here with a stick? And basically David says, you have defied the army of God for 40 days, and I'm going to take care of that. And Goliath laughs at him, and he curses him. And, long story short, Goliath, begins to charge, and David charges, and David stops and takes out his sling and puts a stone in it and lines up the shot, and I believe the verse says the stone sank into the Philistine's forehead, and he dropped face down on the ground. And then David takes his sword, cuts off his head, takes it back with him, takes the Philistines' Goliath's weapons, puts them in his tent. It's done. The Philistine army flees the other direction, and it's over with, And David's a hero. Great story. But to me, the most important thing is not that he became a hero or he was a hero. It's how he became a hero, and that's, that was a process. And it's a very simple one, and it's the one that we're challenged with, every single day. God called him to this, and David obeyed. And he said, okay, I'll do this. I'll do this. And he was obedient well before that. He was given the job every day of protecting the sheep, and he did that by putting himself, between them and danger. And he looked after them, and he cared for them. So he was prepared in the way God wanted him to be prepared for this job when it came up. And so he got there through obedience. And then he walked into it in faith. And he said, God is going to deliver you into my hand today. He believed that God had sent him for that purpose and that God would control the outcome. And he had complete faith in that. And then, like we all have the opportunity every day we go to work, he pursued the work that he had been doing in excellence. And he, protected the sheep. He protected the flock. Just like he had been doing all along. And so those three things are the process by which David became a hero. It wasn't just because he killed Goliath. It was because of everything he did before that stone flew and before it landed, before Goliath fell. And we have the opportunity to do that every single day, to be obedient, to walk in faith, and to pursue that which God has put in front of us, whether it's leading a family or doing your job or whatever it is, in pursuit of excellence of that. And if we do those three things every day in whatever God calls us to do, then the opportunity to be a hero, will present itself. He wasn't a hero in the eyes of people every day when he was out there doing his job as a shepherd. He was a shepherd boy. Nobody paid any attention to that. But they didn't understand the process that he was going through that would prepare him for when that moment came to do what nobody else had the courage to do. There's a song by Casting Crowns, The Voice of Truth, that talks about this. And my favorite verse in that, the whole thing's great, but oh, what I would do to have the kind of strength it takes to stand before a giant with just a sling and a stone, surrounded by 1,000 warriors, shaking in their armor, wishing they'd have had the strength to stand. They hadn't done all that preparation. That's why they never spoke up for 40 days. That's why they were shaking in their armor. And that's why they were wishing it was them instead of being the person who walked out there. David did all that preparation before the moment came. So when the moment came, he was ready. He wasn't a soldier, but he was learning to be a soldier, the kind that God would need in that moment. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And David was the called. And over the course of time, he qualified him. And then he presented him in the moment. To me, that's a real, really good explanation of what a hero is. It's everything that you do to become the person that's needed when the moment arrives. So, I don't know. That was kind of my thought for the day. I hope that everybody is doing well. And I don't know. That's 3. Maybe I'll do 4. You never know. Happy Palm Sunday and Holy Week. And I hope that everybody gets the opportunity in some way to to worship next Sunday. This is a really important week and ends in a really important day. So hopefully that's the case. If there's anybody that doesn't know about Easter or doesn't know about the death and the resurrection that wants to talk, then hey, get a hold of me because I'll do it. Anyway, thanks a lot. Have a great day, and see you later.